another interesting episode of Inside Out. We have a full house today. You'll notice we have a lot of kids. That's because of what we're discussing today. I think in the past few months, Nigeria learned what hygiene is for the first time. That's what it seemed like to me. It was like before Ebola, we must have been very dirty people. Because sanitizers sold out, hand washing, whatever, sold out. People refused to sweat anymore, meaning that perfume was, I mean, you wouldn't even go near anybody if the person is sweating. And I was saying to myself, all these things they are talking about, are they new? For if it took Ebola for us to realize that we needed to do all these things, then we have a problem and that we need to talk about it. Because now that they said that we have been declared Ebola free, I guess, that means, Loma, you people have more work. You would notice they are also here. Because the basic cleanliness and sanitation and hygiene and all those things, we figured there should be a way of life. It's something that a lot of us learned growing up. And I'm saying, where did we lose it? What do we do at this stage? How do we get our children involved? Because it's commonplace now, those little things. Somebody finishes eating, they wind down. Whew. In fact, once I actually chased a man in a car to just tell him, why did you throw that out? He said, now your papa built the roof. I mean, no sense of responsibility. So I think that this is something that we need to talk about. We need to get the young ones maybe teaching us some things. Maybe the children will do it better than we do it. And we'll be talking to some of them here today. You're welcome to Inside Out, and the topic we have for you today is personal hygiene.
With a population density of 4,193 persons per square kilometers, generating about 10,000 metric tons of waste daily, it is a fact that refuse management in a place as Lagos should pose a big challenge. Since 1977, the reality of what Lagos is today in terms of development and waste generation necessitated the establishment of an agency solely responsible for waste management. Prior to 1999, the services of Loma were a source of serious concern for all Lagosians. Mountains of refuse dotted every corner of the metropolis as the organization, confounded by inadequate equipment and unmotivated workforce, seemed confounded by the magnitude of the problem.
In that they come to this area to pack the refugees in time, and that one has even enhanced the low rate of sickness. People no longer sick anyhow. Even this, their driver, they come all the time to pack the crepan.
You can see the gutter. The gutter will be full of dirty, even sometimes human being dead, dogs dead body. A lot of rubbish in the gutter. But these days, since the lawman started the work, in fact, the air alone is, in fact, we don't know how to thank God.
Waste management is one of the major aspects that one can think in life for the development of health aspect of the community or the generality of the public. And thank God, Lagos State government has gone far ahead of most of the states and capitals of this West African region.
The place is so dirty until the commencement of Loma in their full work. So everywhere is neat now.
This place had been abandoned for so many years, but you can see that Lagos is automatically experiencing what I would call, from my perspective, the hand of God. There is a metamorphosis. Lagos has been rescued from the slum status that she had over the years.
I have a panel that I think will do justice. We can't talk about hygiene. We need the teachers to explain hygiene and what they're doing as far as they said that if you want to change something, it's easier to get the children to change the adults. Is that true? Yes. We have here a teacher, Taji, am I correct? Yes. Boyo. Sorry about that. She's the coordinator, Key Stage 1 for Amville School. You're welcome to Inside Out. We have Mr. Bamidele Oluyete. He's a historian. You're welcome to Inside Out. I was having a conversation with him on the phone, and he raised some issues that I thought, wow, I didn't even look at that. And I'm hoping that by the time he shares all of that with us, we'll go home better enlightened on what needs to change. Mrs. Ogun, you're welcome again to Inside Out. Thank you very much. She's the AGM Commercial Services and General Duties for Loma. You're welcome, Ma, again to Inside Out. Okay, let's just start the conversation going. And I'm going to start with you, Mr. Bamitele. What is your view on the state of personal hygiene in Nigeria? Can we go back a bit? That's why I have you as a historian. Can you tell us what it used to be for the benefit of those who are not as old as you?
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Back then, growing up,
Yes.
in this same Lagos State, we used to have teachers that entering into the school or in the classes, our nails
Oh, yeah.
are checked. The color of your uniform is being checked.
That's true.
You are asked to open your teeth. They even ask you to remove your sandals at times to check your toenails.
See, that little child is laughing. She thinks that is really funny. Like, who's going to tell you to do that?
We used to have a situation whereby you wake up as a child. You know all you need to do. And growing up, the hand washing system isn't a new thing, but just that people forgot about it. And I think is a society. Because society, they say, makes a man.
So what do you think happened? I mean, when you were saying all this, I actually remember that it's true. You know, is it Monday morning, everybody will do like this. Those who didn't remember to cut their nails will be biting it all the way to class. Because if they catch you, the ruler that will follow those your nails will be a serious thing. And it was something that you knew you had to do. So what happened?
I think the same thing that happened to the education system as a whole, the decline in the standard of education, affected that part of education as well.
How come we do things like, it's a big deal now, like we do things like environmental sanitation, and that's when everybody knows the day after environmental sanitation, everywhere is dirty. The same places that all the women have swept and cleaned back to having pure water, and like I said, somebody throwing stuff, winding down and throwing stuff. How did that suddenly become a culture? What happened? What was it, and what has happened to our general hygiene?
That is the problem. The environmental sanitation once in a month, and the very good and laudable project of the Lagos State government, I mean the policy of every Thursday, 3 hours, 7 and 10 o'clock, I would say, had impacted negatively on us.
Has impacted negatively. Wow, okay.
It was intended to bring or create a cleaner environment, but rather it had made it worse.
Okay.
Back then, like I said earlier on, we used to have sanitary inspectors, wole, as the people will call them. So you don't know when they are coming.
Okay, they didn't tell you when they're going to come.
You poke on your door and they come in.
To your house?
Yes.
To your house?
Check your kitchens, the toilets, the sewage system.
Inside your house?
Yes.
Seriously?
So we're always conscious as kids.
No, we have gone.
And the adults to make sure you are not caught.
Okay, the wole, that's what you call them. When they come to your house, if they find your house dirty, what will they do?
In those days, the sanctions, you don't even want them to catch you. So you're always prepared.
Really?
So when the environmental sanitation once in a month came up, once in a week in Lagos State and some other states, you see people's frontage now, they are waiting till Thursday morning to clean. Because they know nobody would come sanction them before Thursday. Even the once in a month environmental sanitation program, nobody comes to sanction you, but you're not just allowed to move. Check what happens between that 7 and 10. Boys play ball on the street. People watching movies in their houses. Nobody really clean. So if we can go back to that old method, let everybody go out on Saturdays every day. Let everybody be free on Thursday to open their shops. But let there be many sanitary inspectors all over the place. And you see a cleaner environment.
Do you think that would work in this day and age?
It will. All you need to do is set up a board. Like the Loma people now. It's a board. You see them cleaning, removing, they're always working. Let there be a board like that too, a management authority that will be responsible for checking.
But can you go into somebody's house and start to check their toilet?
You don't have
I
to.
find that very
You don't have to open the flats, but you can be sure that this sewage septic tank is filled up, and they're not doing anything about it, and it's even oozing out, running into the gutters. That can be done. You can see bushes in front of some people's houses between your gutter and the fence. So many things that go unnoticed or punished when there are proper bodies put in place to check all this. We could have a cleaner environment, which is part of the personal hygiene.
Okay, thank you. Let me talk to you, Taji. You work with children.
Yes, I do.
First of all, what's key stage 1? I'm just asking.
Key stage 1 is made up of year 1 and year 2. That's our primary 1 and primary 2.
Okay.
From age 5 to 8.
Okay. Do they fall into that?
Yeah, some of them. Some are in the older classes too.
Okay. Let me ask this. What do you find to be the situation with children when it comes to hygiene?
For us now, what we do is there's actually a subject, in our curriculum that teaches the children.
What's it called?
It's physical, social, health, and emotional development.
What exactly do you focus on when you teach children that?
We focus on, besides personal hygiene, it's emotional development. There are a lot of things that they have to handle. They need to learn how to handle themselves as children, how to handle others around them, besides the healthy part.
Do you feel that you have watered down, education today has watered down hygiene?
I don't think so.
You don't?
It is thorough now.
It is better than before?
Yes, it is thorough.
Okay.
Okay, like he said, the checking of the nails, we still do that. And now hand washing
but
is
I'm
thorough.
sure people don't knock their knuckles like they used to knock our own.
No, we have measures of getting them to do all those things without hitting them. The hand washing especially is thorough now.
I want to talk to a child. There, take the mic. Tell me, what does hygiene mean to you? Personal hygiene.
Hygiene is when you keep yourself clean. By cleaning the environment is better. Like Ebola, if you go to the toilet, you have to wash your hands, because if you put your hand in your mouth later, you spread germs to your body, and when you touch people, contact to them.
Hygiene is when you are clean. You don't like to touch dirty things that will cause virus to your body or eczema. You take your bath well and you clean the environment instead of Lomas doing the job
for you. The reason why I wanted to talk to them is I wanted to have an idea of if they even understand what the word hygiene means. Because the fact that with the Ebola scare, they had to tell people that the best way to take care of yourself is wash your hands was quite strange. And then you look at it, and then we even found out there were schools where they didn't have water. And so you say, how do you cope in such an environment?
No, we teach the children on how to keep themselves clean, but when a child comes to school and the nails long and dirty, we talk to their parents about it.
Do you find the parents to be receptive?
No, we don't. They accept. Sometimes they could be busy, but what we tell them is actually a reminder. Probably they would have forgotten. So it's a reminder, and the next day the child comes, the nail is as clean
What about hair?
We talk about hair too. We have a particular hairstyle. We have rules for hair, even in our school.
Oh, you
for
have
the
rules?
boys and the girls. Yes, we have
Okay,
rules
so
for
like
them.
you have a hairstyle for the week?
No, not hairstyle for the week. We extensions. There's a length to which you get your extension too.
Let me ask you, I want to ask you as a teacher who deals with children from a wide variety of backgrounds, what do you find to be the biggest problem with parents and children and hygiene?
The thing is, with the day and age that we are, everybody's busy. That's most times. So most times they leave the children to helps.
To house help?
Yes. So on those ones, sometimes they don't even really care because they know their madam or their guy doesn't monitor the things they do. So the children are left to the mercy of the house help most times on those things.
So
we
what
as
they
teachers-
know is, apart from what you teach them in school, is also what the house help decides or does not decide is correct.
at home.
Wow.
So most time we try as much as possible to do the best we can to get them to do this. As teachers, we have measures that we don't need to beat them. There are measures we use. Children listen when you talk to them, especially when they like you. I have a way to with my children. You know, when children like you, they want to please you. You don't have to smack them. When they like you, they don't want you to get, especially when you say, when you don't do that, I'm going to be very angry with you. They don't like that word.
Okay,
So
let me ask you, when you teach a child something, do you find that they're able to take it and carry the message on beyond that second when you have taught them?
Yes, they do. We get
They do.
reports from their homes. on
So
things
once you
that
have
they
imparted
do.
a message, they are able to take it home.
Home, yes. And it causes change in their homes too. So some of the parents get aware of those things when they find their children telling them those things that they didn't tell them.
Okay.
So they are taking their education back home.
So, but let me come to you as a waste management official in Lagos State, because you have seen plenty. What has been your experience with Lagosians and personal hygiene?
The issue of hygiene is something that is part and parcel of us. It has been there ever since history began. And it is something that has been part and parcel of every living organism. And that is why the instinct to be clean is inbuilt in human beings, even in animals. So the issue of hygiene is something that I won't say we have lost it, because every child knows that at least I must take my bath twice a day. Every adult also tries to do that. And at the end of the day, they also want to appear as clean as possible.
So what has happened? Why did Ebola
I
become
think
such
what
a
has
huge
really
thing?
happened is that majority of us have lost the family concept, because the family concept is where it all begins. When the home is intact, the mother and the father are there to make sure that the children grow on the path of hygiene, because when we were younger, it used to be hygiene and nature study, right? Long time, that's the
Hygiene and
word.
nature study.
So, and every time at that period, our parents are there. They want to make your hair for you. They want to cut your nails. They don't want my child to be brought out in the assembly for having been unkempt. But nowadays, we are in pursuit of what? Materialism. And that is part of what is becoming the bane of the society. But now, we won't say thanks to Ebola, but we know that the issue of hygiene is something we must all awaken to. And that is why today's program is very, very laudable. And I'm happy at the level of intelligence of the students, because if the adults have losers, we have hope in the children, and the children are going to take us places. Now things have changed, and the children have this program in their
What are you doing to, because the word will be catch them young,
Yes,
so that it becomes a culture?
it's part of,
They might be in a good school where, you know, all these things
in
are
all
practiced
schools,
and-
I know in all schools in Lagos, in the curriculum of Lagos State Ministry of Education, there's this education course which they call civics. Under civics, it runs from primary 1 to junior class to senior class. And I'm happy to also say today, other new phenomenon that is coming up on the issue of environment now are being inculcated into this curriculum. So the curriculums are there. The students, if you talk to them one-on-one, they know. But because now we feel that the ratio of student to teacher, teacher to student is too high. And that's why they cannot have that one-on-one personal that you can have in private school. So that's the only difference. Because in primary school, the one that is very close to my house, if I go there, they know everything about hygiene. They know they have to clean their mouth. They know they have to, they have manners, etiquette. All these are part of what is in the curriculum. And so the issue of hygiene now is, I think it's for the older people. The younger ones know and they are ready to be part of it. And you'll be surprised that it's even the younger ones that are even educating their parents. Some of the children, when their parents want to throw out the wrap of biscuit, they say, no, mommy, my teacher have said we should not litter the road. And once that is done, the woman and the mother there will caution herself. So next time she knows that I have an environmentalist in this, my young one. And so that is it.
Before I talk to you, because I want to talk to the children again, but before I do that, I want to ask, as a body, as an organization, how are you tapping into this generation of Nigerians to maybe they can help us bring about a change?
Well, majority of the education this day is tailored towards waste reduction. And so that is why if you ask them that, you don't know about the 3 R's, that is reduce waste, recycle waste, and recover waste. That is what we're teaching them. And we have school advocacy, so many schools that are involved.
Do you guys know about the 3 R's?
Reuse, reduce, and recycle.
Reuse, reduce, and recycle. Can you explain that?
Yes.
Reuse means when you finish using something and you use it again instead of throwing it away.
For example?
When you finish drinking a bottle of water, instead of throwing it away, you can just fill it with water again so that when you need it. Reducing is when the waste that you have, you reduce it by using recycling and reusing in it. So the waste that you have will reduce to a little.
Exactly. Who knows?
Recycle is when you use something but you don't have to throw it into the dustbin. You can put it into a recycle bin so they can take it and then use it to manufacture something else. You finish using a bottle of water and you want to throw it away, but you see a recycle bin near, so you have to throw it inside the recycle bin.
Talking personal hygiene. And while we were on a break, a friend of the house, our own doctor, I've not seen in a very long time, Dr. Austin, you're welcome back on Inside Out. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
Why is personal hygiene important to us? How does it affect us if my house is clean and outside and the gutters are blocked, for instance?
Thank you very much, Agatha. It's nice to be here again. Thank God for this program, and I think it's going to sensitize people and keep them on the right path to what we're discussing. Personal hygiene is very important. I'm sure the panelists have already talked about that. On the medical side, if I may just rephrase it, personal hygiene is a set of practices designed to ensure...
A set of practices?
Yes, it's not one.
Okay.
It's a set of practices designed, to ensure your healthiness and your well-being, So, and it involves basically what you do with yourself, by yourself, and for yourself to ensure that you are healthy and the people around you are healthy. It's rather unfortunate that Ebola had to kind of ginger us up to the reality of the necessity and importance of personal hygiene. Like you said before, when we were growing up, yes, we were taught how to wash our hands before we eat and after eating, and how to brush your teeth. And not just your teeth, brush your tongue. And the hard palate, which is the roof of your mouth, and your gums. And there's a particular way to do it. And that way you dislodge and you flush. And that way you dislodge food particles that are hidden between your teeth and your gums. That will cause the multiplication of bacteria that will cause bad breath, okay? And then not only bad breath, it will cause gingivitis, inflammation of the gums, which will ultimately weaken the root of your tooth, and you can lose your tooth prematurely. You know, have a bath regularly, you know, and then the thing we're talking about is hand wash. You know, get a habit of washing your hand before and after eating, and after you visit the bathroom. By bathroom, I mean toilet. Whether it's just a wee-wee or poo-poo, make sure you wash your hands after you've done that. And then if you visit people where you have to shake people and shake their hands, and when you get home, wash your hands. These things are important because right on the skin, if I take a swab of your skin, just as it is, and culture it, most and generally we will grow the general bacterium we call Staphylococcus aureus.
Let me ask a question, though.
Yeah.
Where did we forget about all these things?
I think it's not been taught. I think growing up, we have lost it because our parents have not imbibed that, culture, or how do I put it, you know, continuing the culture that we grew up in by re-educating and educating their children on the need and necessity.
So you think it's from the home?
From home, one.
Okay,
and then in the school. I remember in the school, in every classroom in those days, you had a double wash hand basin, even if you didn't have a running water system. Because in those days, we didn't have running water system, tap water, okay? But in every class, we had this basin, you know, clean water and the soapy water, and then you have a towel, you know, hanging. So if you went out and you came in, the teacher would ensure that you washed your hand before you sat down. You know, and if you went to the toilet, they would ensure that you washed your hand before you sat down. So I don't think there's any class these days, both public and private schools, where you have either running water in the class.
Do you?
On the corridor school, fine. But the important thing is to educate the students and the pupils and the teachers. Because sometimes you pick your nose, or you scratch your armpit, or you scratch your bum, or you do all of that stuff. You know, so, which are involuntary, sometimes involuntary actions. And you need to have access to potable water, clean water, running water to wash your hands before you come back. So what I'm trying to say is that both home and schools have lost it because we have not continued the education of telling people how important it is.
Because I'm not sure that there are schools these days where you have water in the classrooms, but you probably find along the corridors. But even the ones along the corridors, what we teach a lot of the time is that you wash your hands before and after meals, when you go to the loo and when you come out of the loo. Even a lot of us, that's what we know. You know, you're putting it differently now. You know, you've raised a lot of issues that happen, we see every day. You know, somebody's picking their nose and everything. And the next minute, you go and shake somebody else's hand.
Exactly. Exactly.
And even the amount of people you shake and all of that every day, you don't know what they have done.
Exactly.
Before shaking your hands.
Yes.
And that is why it is important that it is beyond the bathroom and all that. Okay, let me ask you this, Mr. Dele. What do you think, or where do you think we, going from history, when did we stop? Why did we stop?
It stopped as a result of people taking these things for granted.
What do you mean?
During the Second World War, in concentration camps and most barracks, it was introduced that people should wash their hands as many times as possible. And the result then was people fell sick and ill less than when they were not washing hands. So we have lost the history like we have seen, you rightly said, that while we were growing up in churches, in schools, in classrooms, like the doctor said, we had hand washing bases in classrooms. But now they are non-existent until we are reminded by Ebola that we should have them. So people took it for granted along the line.
Is it that somebody suddenly took away all the bowls and
it didn't happen
basins
suddenly.
and
It's a culture that came in gradually. Probably the people responsible for replacing the waters, they got tired. Why are we even washing our hands every time now?
Nobody's
little by
sick.
little,
Nobody's
it
hand
got
is dirty.
eroded and to the extent of non-existent until it happened. So what I think we should do now, thank God Ebola reminded us, we should continue this habit and try to educate people. It's not just Ebola, but several other diseases that people have not really taken cognizance of just because they are not as fatal as Ebola.
Doc, I want to ask you, you know, there was this huge thing about Ebola and then them declaring us. What are the common things that we can get, that we take for granted, but that we can prevent as a result of this simple hygiene?
Just about anything. Most of the communicable diseases, waterborne diseases, but when we are talking about personal hygiene, we are talking of infections. We are talking of viral infections. For instance, when you have...
if my neighbor's compound is dirty and she's just like a filthy person, and she's collecting rubbish and her bins are overflowing, and I am clean, can her lifestyle affect me?
Yes. Will affect
No,
you.
because sometimes I know why I'm asking this. You'll see someone say, it's not my business, they are just dirty. Or somebody uses opposite somebody's house as a refuse bin. And every night they go and throw rubbish there. The person's house is dirty, but opposite is overflowing. And you think, this doesn't affect me. My own compound is clean.
You see, what you don't realize is that there are vectors. There are things that carry dirt and diseases from that refuse dump, from that unclean environment into your premises. For instance,
that carries it into my premises?
Yeah. House flies, rats at night. Rats go there, rummage, and do all of that. And in the dead of the night, they climb your wall and they enter your house. Cockroaches, they carry these diseases and come into your house. Even if your house is clean, but they've collected dirty things, and then they just, when you're quiet, nobody is harassing them. They just sneak into your house and they spread it. Just like wind and bird and bees spread pollens, you know, for fruits and plants. That is how they do it. So it's not important that your house is clean. You must ensure that your neighbor's house and premises is clean because you are not safe. Yeah. And that is why also I think government comes in, you know, in those days of, you know, covering the drains and making sure you spray the drains. Mosquitoes don't have a place to hatch and develop, you know. We don't have that anymore. You know, you see our roads and drains being built with open drains. You know, so people even throw poo-poo inside there, they throw garbage inside there, and mosquitoes breathe there, and all kinds of things happen there. So it's important that we clean our environment, our homes, and ensure if your neighbor is not clean, just go quietly and respectfully explain to the person the importance of clean environment. Go the extra mile and pay somebody
then they'll replace
to clear
it again, then you clear it again.
Yeah.
Until the person...
Until you are able to move out of there, you get the person to come to reality.
No, but what you're saying makes sense because it's also your health.
It's your health.
Mrs. Ogun, let me ask you. As the waste management agency, why is it that people are not health conscious? Why would somebody, because you see a lot of places where you just see refuse, like, I don't know how it got that high.
Well, I don't think they are not health conscious. They are only trying to display some level of ignorance, not knowing, as the doctor have said, that the issue of disease, outbreak of epidemic does not have boundary. It doesn't have boundary. It cuts across every race and religion. And so it's important that whatever is happening in your neighborhood, you are a major stakeholder. And being a major stakeholder, It's either you talk to your neighbor quietly or tell the agency of government. And that is why...
Can you report somebody like that to Loma?
Yes, you can. You can also report to the Ministry of Environment, which is the father of all the ministry agencies. We have LASEPA also. There are so many government agencies that are responsible for issue of environment in different sectors. Loma is in charge of solid waste. So if you see a solid waste in the wrong place, we have even free toll lines. And government even has emergency lines through which you can communicate to the government, and the government will get the right agencies to do the job. Now we are knowing that the world is a global village. Before now, nobody knew that Ebola can get to across
America,
the borders
yeah.
down there. The developed
Germany.
everybody is now coming up that what can we do? And so that is why your waste is the first level of management when it comes to hygiene. It's not only washing your hands, though. Your waste is critical. If your waste is not properly managed and you are eventually affected, washing of hands alone will not save you. So that's why Loma is saying that your waste is your responsibility. And being your responsibility, you must be able to package the waste in such a way that it doesn't cause unaesthetic view to your neighbor and at the same time makes the environment clean. Before now, majority of houses in places like VR, they put their bin outside. And once you put bins outside, that is receptacles that you have built of concrete, you put it outside there. Everybody that is going will be sharing the same place with you. Why don't you have a 240-wheeler bin that is easy to manipulate, easy to handle within your premises? And the day the operator, which we call the private sectors, come, you will give it to them. Please don't give your waste to catfishers. They even compound the problem the more. Because they will just go to the nearest drain around there and dump it there and turn their back. They will have collected your money and they will have gone their way.
And they don't go very far away, do they?
Don't go very far.
So you're actually paying them to make you
and by
sick.
the time it rains, the water will flow back into your own neighborhood. So that's why we're saying that the issue of hygiene starts with personal hygiene, it ends up with environmental hygiene, and everybody has a role to play. And so it's key that you and I know that the environment is my responsibility and equally yours.
Well said. You know, it's good we were able to eradicate this. You know, that's why we can laugh about this, because it's really bad. But it shouldn't be because of that we suddenly become, because people have taken it to extremes now. People are wearing masks and suits and everything, but these are things that we should do every day.
Ebola just happens to be a very deadly, contagious,
what causes
disease.
Lassa fever? I just said Lassa fever.
Yeah, it's the same thing,
Is it?
You have to have your personal hygiene, protect yourself, and if you have a patient, in our case, the funny thing is that during this Ebola scourge, people were very scared of getting close to doctors and nurses because it was perceived that they are the first. Exactly, and rightly so, So Ebola, Lassa fever.
Cholera? What causes
cholera? Is very...
Because we had an outbreak
before
of
Ebola, cholera, But that's why we're really emphatic about personal hygiene.
Cholera is...
Wash your fruits that you buy in the Ikorodu market or somewhere there. Wash them before you eat. Wash them before you eat, wash after you eat. Cholera...
We had a cholera outbreak in Nigeria.
In some parts of Nigeria, but it's not, it causes vomiting and diarrhea, and you die from dehydration and loss of electrolytes.
Don't go away, we'll be right back.
Appreciate this topic, the way it's been discussed and expanded on. I also appreciate the lady, the teacher lady, her children. They have displayed animals of brilliance. And I happen to be a member of the generation that we saw it when we were young. And now that we seem to have grown, we are not seeing it again. Maybe somewhere along the line we lost it. Now we are also available now that it's being taught for us to go and pick it from where we seem to have dropped it. And it's like a mental challenge for us, but we will do it well. For Loma, we appreciate all the things we've been doing around. And I want to ask, Ma, do you have a standard in picking the PSPs, people that actually work with you in reaching these streets? Because we have paramount and regular cases of broken down vehicles. What are the standards when it gets to such grassroots, so that at the end of the day, even the buses or the trucks or the vehicles will not even turn to what we harass even the streets they are meant to clean? Thank you.
Because we find a lot of broken down trucks that people now turn into mobile refuse dumps.
The PSP program started about 8 years back, and at that time, we all recall that the city of Lagos was adorned with waste, that the waste is higher than two-story building. All around Mushin, even here in Ilupeju, we know the height of waste. Oshodi, everywhere. But now, now we've all forgotten because the human memory is short-lived. And so now, when we started by using open trucks, tippers, everybody just come and clear the city. The city got to a level of cleanliness, but we're not saying we are there yet. So we now had to reorganize and rearrange the process. We now said they must acquire compactors. Each compactors run into about 4.5 million, 6 million or thereabout, and about 12 million for very new ones. But one very important thing I've said is that whenever there's a broke down vehicle anywhere, we told them as Loma, because we don't want to create illegal dump sites within your neighborhoods.
So
you let
the
us
best thing
know.
is to do is also to
Contact
let
us through those free toll lines. Let us know. Send text messages, even to anybody that is in Loma. You see all the names of those people there, and you will be amazed at the level of response. So we all have a duty. Please, if there's a broken down vehicle in your neighborhood, let us know on time.
We were talking about joblessness earlier on, and I think Loma should pack all these youths that don't have job and give them job by asking, yes, let's pack them, let us find something doing. And I think it's a suggestion that they should pack the youths that don't have job instead of them staying at home doing nothing. Maybe you will take that up for us. Then lastly, I want to say something about the issue of recycling. I was taught something, that's one of the costs on that, waste recycling. I want to ask, the waste that we released, what is Loma doing concerning that? Because in some countries...
Class of waste?
I'm talking about...
Human waste.
Human waste.
Excreta?
Excreta.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what they say.
What's Loma doing about that? In terms of recycling, there are some countries of the world where I know that human excreta is also still useful.
Let me start with your first question, job creation. If there's an agency of government that is providing jobs for Nigerians or Lagosians today, it's Loma.
Yes.
In the street sweeping activity alone, we have over 18,000 persons. And each of those group of people, we need supervisors. But majority of us want to work in the banks. The youth wants to work in the bank. And they cannot even collect the 18,000 you want to give them. They want 250,000. Their amounts are very high in quotes. And also from waste, you can make a lot of money. Collect PET bottles. Once you have it in tons, with empty bottles of this pure water, empty bottles of PET bottles, collect them together. Loma will come and collect, weigh it, and give you some money. But not majority of us don't want to do dirty jobs. The second question is the issue of the human excreta. Loma is not in charge of human excreta. It is the sewage department of the Ministry of Environment. But I know you can also generate electricity from sewage. You can, especially in those are soccerways. And that is what they do in other places like Ghana, that is very close to us. They just create an enclosure, which we call the soccerway, and make it an anaerobic condition. And the gas generated there is methane. And the only thing you need to do is to just pipe those gases into your houses and use it to cook food. So, but we are going to get there.
First of all, I want to appreciate what Lagos State government is doing, but I have a question. Now, I stay around Festac, and sometimes in our closes, we normally bring out waste in front of the close, which is sometimes, before the trucks come, it can take a week. So my question is, what's the method? What's the idea? How often are they to come? Because even sometimes when they come on Saturdays, that's on environmental Saturdays, they're always in a hurry. So you find people pursuing them, and some of the waste is just, lying
all over the past.
Yeah, what's the method? Why are they always in a hurry, and why does it take so long? Because it can stay there for like a week.
Everybody put your waste in bin liners, put it in your flat. By the time it's Saturday, the PSP is coming, you take it out. So if you're able to organize yourself at that level, your first step into the right.
What about if they don't come on Saturday?
They are supposed to come once in a week. Yeah. It's a once weekly collection. And even those once weekly collection, majority of Lagosians are not paying for services. And so it's affecting these people. So if we imbibe the culture of paying for services, paying as small as they have said, maybe 500 naira for 4 times collection in a month for places like Festac, for places like Mushin. The Mushin people are abiding. They don't like problem. But those in Festac, they can use sand to take, because of 500 naira, take you to court, and the sand will.
See, it's good that we're doing this because a lot has come out into the light, and we need to take this seriously. So I'm going to ask for one line. That's something that we want us to go away with on personal hygiene, and we can use to change the way we live. I think that's the way to put it. Fine, our Ajabota teacher, let's start with you.
For me, educate the children educate the homes to the community to the country. Education.
My message is to the government. It took the introduction of 25,000 and 50,000 naira fine for Lagosians to stop using one way. So we still need, like the doctor said, enforcement. They have to, whether through the introduction of My Wole Wole or any other means, we need to be enforced. These interactive sessions and educations in various forms are really helping, but like you said, probably because we have stayed under the military rule for so long, we need to be pushed, and that is the enforcement. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, on a very personal level, do not forget your head begins with you. So the personal hygiene should begin with you. Don't forget, having said all that we've said today, don't go without the importance of realizing that the whole scenario starts with you. So cultivate the culture of washing your hands with running water, and if you don't have it, get sanitizer. Even the stuff that you can put in your pocket or your wallet. Sanitize your hands, wash your hands. After shaking a lot of people, wash your hands or sanitize your hands, and brush your mouth before and after. Let's say twice a day. First thing in the morning and probably the last thing at night, so that the food particles you've eaten over the day will not lodge in your teeth and create problems for you.
A last word for us.
Well, there's an adage that says cleanliness is next to godliness, and each of us, when we talk about cleanliness, we mean the personal hygiene. There's also environmental hygiene, and there's also your internal hygiene. That is, what are those things you're using your thoughts for? Are you using your thoughts to propel a clean city? Are you using your thoughts to degrade the city? Whatever you do in your quiet times, in your Twitter or your Facebook, make sure that the environment comes to play at all times. Because Loma cares and is ready to be there for you anytime.
To wash our hands, because most of us do like this and we're gone.
Yeah, so
that's between your fingers.
Your fingers.
Okay.
This is what we teach the children.
Yes.
To wash your nails.
Which small child can teach us? Okay, so what do we do now? No. Okay. Let's hold this. So, soap. Okay. All right. Tell me when I should pour. Now?
Yes.
Now? But we need to see you washing the hand now. You are washing every single finger. That's serious.
See, she's washing the
In between
the
your
web,
hands.
the finger webs, yes.
And the nails.
All the finger webs, the back of your hands. Your thumb is on its own. So now we can pour water. Okay, I'm doing it.
So the others can sing. Wash your hands every day to keep germs away. Wash
Are we done?
with soap and water.
Are you done? So that's impossible. So we need a napkin now.
Healthy always.
So what do you need now? Sanitizer. I should open it. Okay. And then I put it. It's okay. Okay. And now your hands are clean. Thank you very much, Faye. We are really, really glad that you taught us how to wash our hands properly.
How do you not wet?
Okay, me. All right.
Thank you.
Okay, I think on that note, we can end the program. We have learned how to wash our hands. We've learned about personal hygiene. Hopefully the culture we'll take away from here. It will become a part of us. It won't be something that will be propelled by some disease or disaster or epidemic, but something that we do regularly. If a child at 5 can take the pains to wash her hands like that, shame on all of us who don't. A special thank you to Voltic Water and Glittering Health Beauty Makeup Salon and Spa. And if you have any comments on this issue, tweet at us at Inside Out with Agatha or our Facebook page, which is facebook.com//Inside Out with Agatha, or to our email address as insideoutwithagatha@yahoo.com. Thank you very much to my able panel. Thank you for the education, and to members of the audience for your contribution, and to the children of Amville School. Thank you for coming. Until next week when we come your way again, talking about something else equally as interesting. Bye-bye, and see you next week.